Hello, welcome to my channel Conscious Growing. I'm Matthias and I welcome you to a new video. And as you might have noticed that this channel is about chronic illness, nervous illnesses, nervous fatigue. So what does it mean? It means that many of us can come to a situation in their lives where circumstances and sometimes viruses can turn our lives upside down. And as far as I see it from my own personal journey, the background is I had 2 corona infections about 2 years ago, and then afterwards I felt severely sick and ill and tired and fatigued and so on. And when this happens, seemingly all of a sudden, then it's really hard to deal with it and go further from that point. And if you're on this journey, you collect lots of informations from the outside world. And when you listen to this, I assume that you checked out all your medical possibilities, all the blood tests, MRIs, everything that could be done from that side. But then there's a whole lot of a bunch of people out there who have done all these tests and they still feel fatigued, they still feel exhausted, they still have lots of symptoms. And this can even be harder because sometimes it's easier when you have a diagnosis, and then when you have a diagnosis you have a proper plan to follow. But if you're dealing with hypersensitive nervous system issue, and this is what it's all about, then you have much more time to struggle and feel insecure, and you're going through all these ups and downs. So the thing is that the brain can produce weird symptoms, really weird, and they can be so intense that you wish to have just ordinary pain, you know, like a headache that comes and goes. But here these symptoms are like a roller coaster. They even change, and you can easily be hijacked by these symptoms, and also by the emotions that these symptoms produce. And this journey is very much about dialing down the fear about the symptoms, about the state you are in. But if you don't have some sort of a map to get out of there, it can be quite hard, because sometimes when you feel better, you think, wow, I've done it, I went through it, and then symptoms come back, and then anxiety comes back, and you don't know what to do. And it feels like you start at square one again. and then you lose hope. Will this ever end? And so on. I spoke a lot about this, and these what ifs and other negative thoughts keep this cycle of anxiety and symptoms turning. So how to interrupt it? It's a lot about to allow it, to let the state be there, whatever the state is. And this is the hardest part of it. And this is a part where most of us are escaping, trying to escape. But you can't escape. And these flare-ups that happen anyways, the more you try to fix and the more you try to directly influence them, makes it worse. Every time. This is a golden rule in this. Because you can see it like that. There is something that's sensitized in you, in us. And the more we learn to let things happen, the more we learn to let things go. And let things go means to accept what it is for the moment. Because trying to get rid of it or to fix it is resistance. And with resistance, you produce more symptoms and more anxiety because you go against it. And this can be very obvious at times, and you feel it immediately. For example, you are angry about it, and this anger goes against yourself. Why don't I get better? What am I doing wrong? I hear recovery stories from people, and they have done it, and why me? And all these kind of inner dialogues, they make it even worse. Because when this is the self-talk, it gets worse, for sure. And then on the other hand, you don't want to become a victim of it. And they say, okay, symptoms come, I'm here. And you end up under these waves of anxiety and symptoms and so on. And then you're so scared and you hope that it stops soon. And this is very passive, of course. So what is the right amount to deal with it? In order not to lose your self-empowerment, this is a huge one. Because easily we will feel like a victim, or we feel helpless, and we feel that we are ruled by these conditions and so on. Because pushing through doesn't work, escaping doesn't work. So what works? What I can say is the main thing is to train acceptance. And this is an over and over again exercise, several times along the day. Whenever you're confronted with unpleasant feelings, you say, okay, I accept that this is the state right now. It will change again. There's no other way. It will change. And when I'm able to feel the sensations in this specific moment, when I don't fight against it, and here's the point. In some moments you can feel really shitty, really, really, really. It can feel that this is the end of your time, your life on this planet. And so overwhelming. Thoughts are racing. You try to find a solution in this very state. And there is no solution. Not in the old way. So it's to say, okay, I'm here and this is happening and I allow this. And I give it as much space as it needs. And you don't need to do anything else. Just being aware that you observe everything that your mind and your body is acting out. And as hard as it is, it's like you can imagine you are on this side and you want to come to this side. So how do you get there? How do you get to this side? You get to the other side when you allow things to happen, sensations to happen, when you can have some kind of ability to let the body as limp and relaxed as possible, and you don't decide to fight it. You decide to float yourself through this difficult moment. You let it be there in its full intensity. And when you have done it several times, your experiences are that nothing will happen. It never gets worse. Why does it get worse sometimes? It gets worse because we put fuel on the fire. And the fuel on the fire are our thoughts. So when you practice this, it's totally important that you don't put fuel on the fire with your own thoughts. And if you can manage it, and you can, is to just experience this. And there will be the chatter of your mind. There will be chatter of your scared mind. And it can be really loud at times. But this is not the voice you're listening to. This is not the voice you believe. Because this is just your doubtful subconscious energy from the past that tries to protect you, but this protection is not appropriate anymore. It's just a shadow from the past. You could also say a bluff from the past. And to see through this bluff, you have to experience it. And one of the nature of these bluffs is that it can be loud, intense, and it also changes its strategies. What I mean by that is, let's say it gives you a certain symptom, and this symptom can be chest pain, for example, or headache. And it treats you for a while with these symptoms again and again every day. So far you have been reacted with fear and despair, maybe, or sadness. and or anger. And let's say you make some progress. You have allowed these sensations to happen, and somehow you're not that scared anymore. And now, the following morning, all of a sudden, you have stomach pain. You never had stomach pain in this process. Now, all of a sudden, stomach pain. So you're scared again. You think, oh no, there's something new happening to me, a new symptom. And then in worst case, you ask Mr. Google, what's going on here with me? What kind of pains is it? And you're about to order some microbiome stuff, whatever, to treat it. And then you're hanging in the symptom again. But you have to understand that these symptoms can change. The brain can produce other symptoms, sometimes even more intense. And you can see that this is just another bluff in most cases. Okay, if you have ongoing stomach pains and it never stops, of course you want to go to see a doctor and let it check out. There's no other way. But the longer you're in it, the more you see the nature of it all, and you recognize, okay, this brain is kind of tricky and can produce new symptoms as well. And what's the reason? It wants to protect you. It still wants to protect you. But then again, what to do? Because let's say this new symptom is there, and here you can talk to your brain. You can immediately say, look, I get you. I see the bluff behind. You're just giving me another symptoms. You're giving me another symptom. I see you. I get you. And with this kind of attitude, you show your brain that it can't bluff you anymore. This is one of the ways. And the other way is, I just explained this, to let it all happen. Whatever wants to act out, let it happen. You observe your resistance, you observe your avoidance, you observe your thoughts that manifested this state maybe in the last month or years, and they are part of the bluff. But now you start new pathways. You use new pathways. You don't buy into them anymore, these old thoughts, these old reactions. But you have to understand that these old patterns are still in the body, they are still in the system, they are in the thought system and in the energetic system. So therefore you have to be patient with your new means, and you have to use them consistently. And with time, this energy goes down because you don't fight it. You don't want to solve it. You allow it to be there. And please see that sometimes it can be really, 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 really bad. And these old, let's call them energies, stuck in you, they can mimic a big drama. And these thoughts can be thoughts of life and death and so on. But if you look closer, you see that these thoughts always worst case scenarios. They just suggest you these scenarios, and here's the point: they never suggest a solution. Has this voice ever gave you a solution? And I can tell you 100% it never has, and it never will. And that's why you shouldn't believe it and shouldn't trust it. And with this background, you are able to go through difficult moments. And with this background, you rebuild inner trust in yourself, resilience. I made a video in German yesterday just about this, building up your inner trust, your inner voice. Very important video, and I recommend to watch it with subtitles if you're a native English speaker. And yeah, so in this, see that for a while these states might change even along the day. You might be okay in the morning, then you have some difficulties around midday, and then the afternoon is quite okay, and in the night it strongly comes back. Take all kind of changes to account and see that it can change every moment, and just see that it's always your scared subconscious. It can happen, so be prepared for it. Don't be surprised when it comes. Don't be surprised when you had a good day and then the other day it's back, or you had a good morning and the evening it's back. So just accept it, just be with it. The less you resist these states and you become friend with your own symptoms and your own states, and even in these states, in these difficult emotional states, you don't need to solve something, you don't need to understand something. It's just like, I want to give this example. You are with your child and your child is scared of something, and you just protect your child. You take it in your arms and maybe use a few words, but there's not much to do because you give shelter for your child, and your child feels your arms around her chest or his chest, and that's all it needs, and it feels secure and safe again. Because here's the thing: when you try to figure out in these states what is this all about, is it from my past, from my childhood? Should I do some trauma work? Should I get some medicine from the doctor? This just keeps you in this hypersensitive, excited state. So how will you ever can calm down when you are staying in this loop? And the longer you're in it, it can become more subtle. But then again, you realize, I've been in this for quite a while now, for months, even years, and I still try to fix it when it becomes uncomfortable. And there's the key, because the more you are able to stop to fix it, even in these subtle ways, then you can make progress, because then you react differently. As I said, you allow it. You kind float through these states, and the more you practice this, the easier you will get out of these states, because you resist less, you fight less, and you see that it can be uncomfortable, but it will never do you any harm. It can't hurt you. Just the other way around. These symptoms and these states will make you stronger. So I hope this was a helpful video, and to see how subtle this progress can be. And I want to encourage you to win yourself back, to let nature do the thing. Yeah, there's when you break your arm, the arm heals in its speed, in its own speed. What can you do? The arm is resting and the arm heals. You don't do anything. And this is the same example for your state right now. You give it time to heal on its own. And the less you interfere, the faster the progress goes. And this is a way of living. It's a way of exercising. This is your priority for now. And all the rest is happening in its own speed. And I don't mean that you need to make your recovery your main aim of the day. I'm really talking about when it feels uncomfortable, when you are resisting. Then it's important to have this closer look. And sometimes these flare-ups can last a day or two or a week. And you have to stay strong there, mentally. So, yes, this is it for today. And if this was useful, please, any comment down below is welcome. And also you can put your thumb up or subscribe to the channel or send it to someone who can need it. And I wish you a good day. Bye for now.